Good evening, viewers. We are back with our fortnightly program. Myself, Abir Mozumdar of the Idea Factory, in association with Mr. TUHIN Mukherjee of iSTRATEGIC Consulting, have been bringing you various topics associated with consulting of MSME landscape in India. Today, we have come with a very interesting topic, which is effective management consulting for MSMEs in India. We are know management consulting is not a new genre of programs or services in India. It has been there for more than 2 decades, and they have been supporting businesses, both big and small, over an extended period of time. But today we are going to discuss the concept of management consulting, especially for startups and MSMEs. This is very important because startups are a reality today. If we look at it, there are thousands of startups in India, but the local statistics reveal, or the national statistics reveal, in fact, the IBM survey sometime back has revealed that only 1 out of 10 startups become a long-lasting organization, which means that about 9 of the 10 startups actually lose their way over a period of time. So that being the reality, with so much of support being given to the startup ecosystem by incubators, by venture capitalists, by angel investors, and so much of the supporting system, it is required that MSMEs get the right kind of support, direction, and guidance to build their businesses from small to big. Today, while businesses start with entrepreneurs with a brilliant idea, what happens over a period of time that this idea to translate into a big organization needs a lot of support. It needs the support of funds, it needs the support of people, it needs the support of customers, and so many things for you to go on to a very long lasting organization. When this is the reality, they are hurdles all the way. And more important, when there is COVID that has happened out here, when the market has evolved completely, obviously the lot of MSMEs have actually lost their rhythm in their efforts to reach to the larger goal. So here, management consulting or consultants play a very strong role in keeping them going or taking them from from a small level to a bigger level. There is also a concept of mentoring and coaching that comes within consulting, wherein consultants, guide these, entrepreneurs and give them support on a month-to-month basis to take their businesses from where they are today to what they want to become. There are extensive, periods of engagement of, consulting services, coaching, or mentoring that takes businesses from a small level to a big level. There's a lot of money involved because there are stakeholders in the system. There is a lot of employees that are there in the system. There are customers in the system. So it's very important not to falter or to fall, or even if you fall, you have to get up quickly and gradually build the organization. So this is kind of a background of the whole process. And my question to Mr. TUHIN Mukherjee is, Mr. Mukherjee, how do you see the response of the the startup ecosystem to this concept of management consulting?
Thanks, Mr. Majumdar. I have seen that basically Indian business owners, they are in small business owners, small and medium business owners. They are not very responsive to this management consulting system. It is not only India; it's also a worldwide phenomenon. But particularly India, they are actually coming from a certain kind of particular background, and either they have been doing for a long time, or they are actually means they have a kind of a family background, or they have a business history. So they are mostly banking on basically their intuition or the historical knowledge. So here's the problem: they cannot actually think of making it global, adapting the global practices basically. But I have not seen that all small and medium enterprises organizations are like that. Scenarios are changing. People are becoming more global. We are having more number of unicorns. So things are changing. But I think that there is a lot more to do for adopting this kind of the practices. And there are more than 6 crore SMEs in India, but I don't know how many SMEs are responsive to adopt this management consulting practices for their operations. So this is a kind of the alarming situation that I have been seeing while I doing practice in the management consulting. So the organization, they have a huge kind of the resources, but they are wasting the resources. The organization which are not having that much of the resources, they are not able to put it. So it's a situation that where somebody is wasting the resources and somebody is lacking of the resources. More or less, the things are adopting this kind of the practices and usage of the maximum usage of the resources is required, and that can be done basically to a outsider, means outsider of an organization with a particularly management consultant. So this kind of the practices are prevailing in other parts of the world, but in India it is not that much. But scenarios are changing. I'm very optimistic, and I think that in the coming years the scenario will be changed, and more the organization will be this kind of the practices to make it a global organization. Thanks a lot. Mr. Majumdar, please carry on the next questions.
Right. I think the next question is, how do consultants bring value to organizations like the MSMEs? Typically, as we have rightly understood, that MSMEs, they do go through dilemmas after a certain point in time. And, they also do not have too much of resources to appoint any outside consultant to guide them. So what happens, there is a requirement, but at the same time, there is also a certain amount of funds crunch to involve an outside consultant in taking the business forward. First of all, we have to understand that businesses do need guidance or support, especially at the initial stages. That is why we are talking of mentoring. That is why we are talking of coaching or whatever support we are talking. At the initial stages, businesses do need a certain kind of guidance, and the consultants are expected to come with a certain amount of perspective beyond the business owner, and there could be a good give and take of knowledge between the two of them. Okay, let us also remember that the consultant is normally not a very sector expert, but definitely has a subject matter experts in his team. So if required, if there's a tech company or if there's a healthcare company which has very kind of technology driven or industry specific details are there, the subject matter expert do come in picture along with the consultant, and together they add value beyond the general management. One is, you have to build the proper business model, and that proper business model involves the right kind of mix to support the customer when you are offering a particular amount of service. There's no point selling something to a customer and not be able to service it up. The bigger problem that happens is that the selling is always done, but the service is not up to the mark. So that makes a lot of problem in the market, because you are not ready to take it to the market. At the same time, there is also, because they are too much, they take more than what they can. They do not understand the expectations of the customer to a very large extent, and that gap, the communication gap between the customer and the organization, kinds of makes it a big difficult to gap. And perhaps consultants can look at it from the customer's point of view and ask a lot of questions to the organization. Also, consultants do come with certain amount of thoughts and ideas which are built over time through their understanding of various businesses, and that puts a bit of a perspective to the company. Consultants can also put certain result oriented service to the company, which means that they work on a success oriented project, and convert a certain idea or a certain concept into a proper workable model, and that gives a certain amount of confidence to the entrepreneur that this idea or this concept can be taken forward. So in the initial stages, when the company is not very sure of taking something new to the system, maybe the consultant is the backbone or the supporting system for the entrepreneur to take it forward. So these are certain amount. Once it is already tested, once certain amount of result is already taken in the pilot project, the company can scale it up over a period of time. So the consultant is very handy or supportive in initial stages of the business, and whenever there is a certain new thing that is being put in, the consultant can put a foolproof system by putting a 360-degree viewpoint from the customer side, from the stakeholder side, from the investor side, and then make it much more robust. The model becomes much more robust. Also, Consultants, because they are delinked or detached from the operational model of the company, they bring certain amount of a framework or a methodology into the system, which otherwise the the company may not be able to put in. This framework or a methodology or a structured approach to bring in the business also brings in a certain amount of connectivity between various elements of the business till it reaches the customer and beyond. Okay, so that also helps. Also, consultants act as a kind of a knowledge bridge between the company and the academia, because every startup has certain amount of knowledge base, and that knowledge base also has to be improved or evolved over a period of time. So these are some of the value additions. Consultants can also bring in certain amount of measurement matrices into the system, which allows the company to understand what things are going right and what things are not going right. Today we have a advantage of the the dashboard, which we have seen even nation. The COVID has put in us on a very high data point wherein all the dashboards are available nationally. So keeping that as the benchmark, even today, a lot of companies can actually build in certain dashboards and matrices which help them understand the business on a day-to-day basis without going into the granularity of the model over a period of time. So the consultants do bring in a lot of perspectives. Also, they help in bringing a best practices into the system, not only within the company, but also from outside. They bring in a lot of examples, a lot of thought processes, which helps in building up best practices, and thereby take the organization towards a world-class organization. See, the issue is not about taking an organization from A level to B, but here we are talking of taking an organization to a world-class level, which will compete with the big companies of tomorrow. For that, you have to have robust systems, robust processes, and also have innovation in your fabric. So put together, a consultant plays a very strong role in taking a business from a smaller level to a higher level. This being the context, I think my next question to Mr. Mukherjee, if you can take the next question forward.
Yeah, the next question is the difference between the domain knowledge and business knowledge. It's a worldwide scenario where the entrepreneurs or the business person comes from a particular domain. Suppose he or she is a chef, so they are starting the restaurant. Now the problem is that when they are coming from a particular domain or particular background, they have a domain knowledge, but they are lacking the business knowledge, and that is the problem. Someone is coming from the IT industry. Basically, if you see the new age entrepreneurs, they are spending some time in their life in working in other organizations, and they are getting some kind of the knowledge. They are acquiring some kind of the funds. Then they are starting. Now the problem is that they are having the domain knowledge. When they are starting the organization, they have the domain knowledge, but they are lacking the business knowledge. And that is the problem we have seen. While running the business, they don't know how to prioritize, they don't know how to allocate the resource, and they don't know how to actually make the cut, and so many problems, so on and so forth. So that is the problem. So the problem is that getting a differentiate between the domain knowledge and the subject knowledge. This domain knowledge and also the business expertise area. And that is the problem, and that is why we have seen that more than 90% industries are getting close within 3 years of the operations. Because when they are starting the organization, they are very confident, having the domain knowledge, they think that they can win the race. But after some time, what happens, that domain knowledge is not sufficient to win the race, and they are lacking the business knowledge, and they are losing the game. So that's what happened not only in India, but it's a worldwide scenario. But we suggest the Indian business owner or the SME business owners to take this very seriously. That is why the consulting is very required, very much required. When you are starting the organization, your domain knowledge is very much essential along with your business knowledge. If you are not having the business expertise, business knowledge, and the implementation capacity, then everything is going to actually fall. So my actually advice or the request to all the business owners, take it very seriously. If you are not able to do it effectively, get a consultant from the outside, or get some kind of a coach and the trainer where they will take care of the organization and you focus on your domain area. So putting this together, that will create the synergy, and your organization will flourish, and that is the main thing. So we have done lots of the consulting, training, development, and other assignments, and through that we have seen that this is the confidence that they can run the organization without having the business expertise, and with having the very good domain knowledge, they can run the organization, is actually having their organization. So this is my request to have a consultant, outsider consultant, or they can actually get some kind of the expertise to actually implement all the business ideas in a very effective way. So my next question is to Mr. Majumdar. What is the business education? What is business education and why it is important?
Right. I think this is in continuation with the topic that you have said because of the domain knowledge and business knowledge. Typically, the businesses do need knowledge to build a robust model. Okay. And, if you're operationally too tied up, somewhere your knowledge inflow reduces. So in that respect, the consultants do bring in certain amount of perspectives as consultants or as well as trainers also, wherein they can impart significant amount of, training in terms of domain expertise as well as about business expertise, because consultants are typically, they are not only consultants, they are also trainers at the end of the day, and there is so much of information available in a structured method through a framework model and through test modules, because these modular training that also helps them to understand how the business is flourishing, and you may take surrogate case studies to explain the concept, because the concept may vary, they may evolve, but as concept as may have already been tested out elsewhere in a different environment, you have to take that and you have to customize it to your requirement. So certain amount of case study approach to training to give the perspective is also important. This is also especially applicable for businesses who are open to knowledge from outside. We are not saying that we have seen businesses who are who learn on the job and may not you see the value of outside training, but when you get one or two trainings like that or business education like that through structured modular approach, that gives in a lot of perspective. Also, what consultants do is they not only give the training, they also give a measurement matrix, which means that after the training, once you apply it to your organization, what is the value that you're going to get out of it? So it is no more the situation where you just take the training or the education or the knowledge and go back to your job, in which case you will not be able to measure the impact. But today we have setups and matrices which has connectivity to your profitability, and you should be able to see the improvement in your profitability over the short, medium, and longer term. So training has its benefits which is measurable. Okay, and also once you go their training, it's not a one-time training. Of course, training or goes to a period of periodicity. You have to agree on that. And these it also means a back and forth understanding of the modules and corrections and improving the models of work. This also, I remember during our times and working times, there was a business tool or a strategy tool which was not available in India, and the consultant had to be flown down all the way from the US and stationed in India for 6 months to impart that training. Now that's a very expensive proposition, and a belief that certain amount of training always has to come from abroad. Today India is so advanced, you can actually get all the world's best trainings within India without spending so much of money. The digital model has come, the Indian businesses have tie-ups, and they also have built up their own training modules to make it available. So one side you have your supporting system which a consultant gives you in terms of supporting the business, but at the same time they also give a certain amount of training and education to the business to make it stronger over a period of time, and that knowledge puts the organization on a higher pedestal and to employ professionals, because professionals, when they join, they also want to learn, they want to apply tools and techniques, they want to see the matrices, and gradually the organization becomes bigger, better. It is no more, and the more you have systems, the more you have measurement matrices, it becomes better and better over a period of time. So this is what it is from our side. Now, my question to Mr. Mukherjee is, Mr. Mukherjee, how do you see our businesses, which is the Idea Factory and the iSTRATEGIC, how do we, add a special value to the MSME segment in India?
Yeah. So the thing is that iSTRATEGIC is basically a consulting organization is backed by the Indian management philosophy. Here I am putting also various kind of the concepts like that spiritual consulting and spiritual training program where I do not differentiate the business owners on the business. So actually the business owner who is running the business, he is putting his all energy and his resource as well. So the thing is the business owner is not different from the business. So business owner needs some kind of the coaching to convert, means to transform himself first, then he can transform the organization. So our module takes care of the business owner as well as the business. We are drawing all these principles from the ancient management, ancient Indian management, basically spiritual philosophy, where we train on the basis of the Adi Shakti Acharya philosophy, that is Aham Brahmasmi, and that is the kind of thing when we are delivering this kind of the concept and somebody is absorbing the concept, his view or his opinion becomes much more liberal and he can think something much bigger and he can think of the society and he can think as well as for the employees. That's the kind of the consideration that we think. And in that regard, we are developing the programs and the modules so the business owners can become more effective. They have a more better leadership quality and the organization can have more better responsibility towards the society and the world. So that is the plan, that is the iSTRATEGIC is looking for, and that's the mission they are working on. So, Mr. Najib sir, what about the idea factory, how they can help the organization to flourish?
Yeah, there's as we people can understand, there's a lot of synergy between the services that Idea Factory and iStrategic Consulting offer, and that's why we are doing these programs together. But at the same time, we are also offering something unique. While iStrategic has already offers something on the management philosophy, Idea Factory has its own signature program, which is surrounding thought leadership. As we all know, thought leadership is the concept of a futuristic thinking, wherein you bring in the best in class, products and services, and you build a futuristic organization through new, better and better ideas, and with a to and fro discussion on various new ideas, and at the same time, building an organization of the future, which means that keeping the window open of how things will evolve over a period of time and whether we can preempt it and be the first in the market to offer such services in the market. So we should always be the first to bring in certain services, which gives us a competitive edge over the competitors over an extended period of time. So in terms of competitive edge, thought leadership is a concept that we are building for our organization. And thought leadership is followed by an innovation ecosystem, which an organization has to build on its own, where we can support them in building, wherein they themselves are innovative. And there's a fresh flow of ideas within the entire organizational ecosystem, which means that from the entrepreneur to the employees, to the customers, to the stakeholders, the suppliers and various stakeholders, that gives us this entire movement of ideas. And there's a way in which you capture the new ideas and convert these ideas into reality. Also, just because these ideas come from everywhere, that also makes it very encouraging for everybody to participate in this creative journey and to build the organization in totality. This kind of concept is, we are building, we are talking to organizations, and we are seeing a lot of very good response because businesses are receptive to innovation and they are seeking our support in that. So together, they also need to, invest in the digital platform, because you also have to, when you're talking of innovation, there also has to be digitization, which means that, you have to have definite platforms over which this innovation can work. And because today, it is no more in the on premises, like employees can work from anywhere, work from home model. So many of this digitization will happen on the cloud. And there will the concept, the intelligence will actually move from the cloud devices, and there is also the edge devices that are available on the field, and a lot of intelligence can also flow. So it also involves a certain amount of artificial intelligence. There is also a certain amount of business intelligence that flows into it. Together, we are building a platform wherein we are engaging in a creative journey with organizations, and at the back end, we are also supporting them in building platforms. So together, I think we are supporting organizations to go from A to B, and taking innovation, giving innovation the focus that it deserves in an organization. Only then we will be able to build world-class organization from India, tomorrow, no more the location of the starting of an organization does not matter. What matters is what services it offers, what kind of, and how it can, be fluid enough to understand the requirement of the customer and to understand the, service the customer more and more better in a fluid manner. I think that those are certain amount of concepts that we are building on, and together we are supporting. We are also building an ecosystem of entrepreneurs where they are there are consultants in our ecosystem. There are also entrepreneurs in our ecosystem, and we are all working together to give innovation the right kind of importance or focus within the nation. I think that is from our side. Anything more you want to add to this, Mr. Mukherjee?
That's the thing, that unique proposition both iSTRATEGIC and iSTRATEGIC can offer. And I think this is a kind of the winning means the option or the winning solution for the organizations as well. They can avail out the service and they can become more competitive, and they can compete in the market in a very effective way, and they can become also global. So thanks to Mr. Majumdar for being with us and making this
Thank you. Thank you.
more fruitful. So thanks.